just got to like the crossroads where all the like the paths converge. There's one up that way I've been down, one up that way where I'm going to film. I've never been down there because it's private property, and it has the no trespass sign, so that's not. I haven't like all the gates open, so it could be interesting. Within the past couple weeks, I've been wanting to explore more of kind of making my rich summative task for art class more interactive, I guess is the word. It started with little pull-out tabs, but I think people see stuff like that and they go, oh, I'm not supposed to touch it. And I think that's silly. And it goes against what I was trying to do. But I think there's been a growing desire in me to explore not necessarily performance, but more installation art. I think installation art is a really cool medium. It kind of forces you, because a lot of people want to kind of disengage from a piece, or they just like seeing pretty pictures, and I think a lot of people don't challenge themselves, and or they don't kind of ask what the piece is about. And I think installation art kind of, it puts you there. It's in the room with you. And I think we also have a sacred idea of space. You know, why is this taking up so much space? Why is it in my what's going on? What's it all about? And I think that's interesting, and I wanted to explore that a little bit. But I think there's a very interesting way to kind of force working with a piece, or force kind of thinking about a piece. And I think that's hearing someone talk about it. I think, or even hearing someone talk about, like hearing the artist talk about what's kind of going on. Not necessarily just with the piece, but with them as a person. And I think that's interesting. And I think when people hear stuff, they get more connected to the person. There's not really that divide of like, well, it's just pictures. You get a more solid kind of idea of things, and I wanted to explore that. So if you found your way here just off of YouTube, then thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you are one of the people, hopefully, who scanned the QR code on the front of my RST, thank you as well. I think that's something, it's another step. You see the picture, you go, cool picture, and you move on. But I think if you're, I don't know if these are going to be displayed, but if you put it, up in the atrium, people see a QR code, I don't think most people are going to scan it. But if you did, thank you. And I hope you enjoy. But I've written a script. It's not general ideas, it's pretty specific. But I think I'll just read it out. And if you're looking at the piece, or you just, saved it for later, the video that is, there it goes. I'm currently facing a bout of art block. I hate this phrase. I don't know what it feels like to others. Maybe the phrasing's truer. But to me, art block is a symptom of some great internal violence. As of late, this specific period has gone steady for about 5 months. It has been a mixture of a fading depressive episode and a new, crippling anxiety. The latter is becoming more apparent by the day. When walking in the halls of school, or even in the classroom, I'm so completely terrified of judgment and or any slight conflict that my chest tightens, my legs become like two-seater logs connected by strings I must proficiently maneuver, and I both lose my breath and stifle my breathing so as to not pant and thereby draw attention to myself. I'm so terrified of some geist or ghoul I've never known the face of that I cannot walk properly unless my hands are busy, be that in my pockets or carrying something. I speak too fast or quiet when confronted, and all the while, regardless of its sound or demeanor, I dislike my voice. I hate all of this about myself, but it is a passive hate. It's almost never on my mind because, for me, they are constants of being alive, and it is being alive that fuels me with such passion and vigor I often enjoy. I enjoy being alive like a pig enjoys mud. Being alive, however innate and instant an answer it seems to us, is a choice. It's exceedingly beautiful to me that so many of us do choose to be alive through hardship and pain alike. People are profoundly interesting. Each of us is a well of unique experiences. Many people think they are uninteresting. I believe that idea, and whomever planted it within you, is deeply stupid, a level of ignorance which you cannot shake. I adore the outdoors. It is a type of adoration which permeates my skin, a truth written on my bones. People say they get lost in books. I'd love to be one of these people. However, I am an aphantasiac. In other words, I do not have a mind's eye. I cannot visualize things. It's not so severe that I cannot recognize things, as it was in the case of a university professor who mistook his wife for a coat hanger. But it is somewhat frustrating as an artist, as certain complex visual ideas I have are stopped in their tracks. This being said, I cannot get lost in a book, regardless of my love and passion for literature. However, I can get lost in the woods, and this is enough for me. My newfound passion for the outdoors seems, at least to me, a reaction to a deep depression I fell into just over a year ago as of recording this. For a period, it was crippling. I never felt any need to harm or kill myself, and I never have, and hope I keep that tradition alive, but I experienced immense sadness from a third-person perspective. That is to say, I understood there was no reason or purpose for it, yet it still lingered like a nuclear winter caused by an atomic bomb across the ocean. I struggled with this the winter of 23 to 24, and then spring came, and the lingering dread continued to confound me despite being immensely happy in all aspects of my life. And then summer came all too quickly. The summer blossomed, and the fruit of this tree was time, and the pasture it grew in was set in the verdant land and rolling hills du Grand Ile du Calumet. Grand Calumet Island is an aggressively rural island in Quebec. It is also the most beautiful place I've ever laid eyes on. On this island lives around 700 of the luckiest people on the planet, 2 of which are my grandparents. They own both a house and a camp, the latter being fashioned primarily of wood composite in addition to being not a 30-minute walk from my favorite place in Canada. This place is not notable unless you take the time to let the greens, yellows, and browns seep into your skin like water in a desert, or smell the wet dirt and peeling bark like you would a fresh pie. This place is at the peak of a pathetic mountain. From it, you can see a pond, a stream that manifests in a trickling waterfall, and another cliff, which somewhere upon its slope lays the other components of a wild animal skeleton. I say other, because on my second trip into the hills in the summer of 24, I found a femur and the left lower jaw of such an animal, alone and laying bare in a cushion of moss. I placed them in the stream after playing with the idea of using them as drumsticks for a while. Memory is a funny, fickle thing. Of any of the illnesses which concern memory, Alzheimer's scares me the most. There is a history of Alzheimer's and dementia in my mother's family, and although I know not the odds, I will always be scared of such an illness. I will always fear its process. First, you forget short-term things. Then you forget the names of your grandchildren. but you're just getting old, right? Next, I'll forget what year it is, instead asking to be brought to places I frequented in my young adulthood, places I, as a teen, have never actually been before. Then you lose the memory of faces, become violent towards family and friends. I may be put in a home, or they'll wait till I forget people can be dangerous. Next, I will forget everything but that which is deeply ingrained. At this stage, some people will only speak in slurs and expletives, because the memory of the heinous words have more sticking power than the societal norms which inhibit their use. The most horrible thing is that at this stage, people are still conscious. They realize and understand what they are doing hurts people, but they are powerless to stop it. Then, your consciousness fades. Eventually, it will kill you, but you might as well already be dead at this point. But, somewhere deep, deep down, you are still there, because every now and then, an Alzheimer's patient will miraculously recover. They will remember everyone, and it will be like the good old days. They will die the next morning, or the next hour. Nature's cruel. You will not wake your sick mother. She is just tired from yesterday's family gathering where she remembered the names of all 3 of her daughters. At noon, you will check if she's still sleeping. You will peel back the sheets of the bed and tap her shoulder to wake her. The skin will be cold, and her body stiff. Nature is cruel, but we have done crueler things than she ever has, and we will continue to outpace her in this respect. But nature is also maternal, and so too are we. Often I feel we live in the last hour of our time as a species, and I think I'm okay with that. I think, secretly, it would be better to rid the universe of the human cancer. But I think, about as often, that such a whim is deeply ignorant. Since we are the only beings, to our knowledge, truly capable of moral thought, we're the world's only evil and only good. It's then rather a question of which we embody more of, and how we heal or treat the wounds of evil and unkindness. So get lost in the woods. Enjoy life like a pig enjoys mud. Understand nature is cruel, fear loss, and mourn that which you lose, but treat your wounds and the wounds of others with a gentle hand and tender touch.